Hello, everybody, and welcome to the England Athletics podcast. No, it's not. This is the long run show, Christmas Day special. We are here to entertain you for the next 42 hours. No, we are here for 30 minutes, and we are going to be doing, one of those YouTube recap things, but as a podcast. Hayden has had a genius idea, and I said to him, now, actually, on YouTube, they do these like channels and YouTube, they do like these rewind things. So we thought that, well, Hayden did, and I thought, it's a good idea that we would do this on the podcast. And then we was just going to do it as a video, but I said, no, let's record it as a podcast and put it out. So hopefully you can follow along with us over the next 30 minutes. It is Christmas Day. We're putting this out, Hayden, by the way. I didn't tell you that.
I didn't know that.
No, you didn't know. I just found that out. And we're going to put this out Christmas Day morning. So once you've opened all your presents up, you may want to go out for a run or whatever, and you want something to listen to, then we're going to do that. But yeah, this is a bit of a rewind. This is a bit of a recap. This is a bit self-indulgent. This is a bit running channel. No, it's not. It's all about what? I know I'm being naughty, but it's Christmas. I'm allowed to be naughty.
Happy Christmas, by the way.
Happy Christmas, bro. And by the way, just as a timestamp for anybody who's a regular listener or watcher, check the boxes behind. They're still there. And the table, Pagey. But just purely as a timestamp, so you can tell when we recorded this. But yeah, so we thought that we would record this as a live stream, as a podcast thing. So hey, tell the viewers and the listeners what your kind of idea was, and then we'll sort of crack on with it.
Right, my idea was we've got a lot of podcast listeners. Some are members of the community at the moment, and some are members of the club. Some are not. Some maybe they've never heard of the club. Maybe some think that you're just a great podcast host and we're great co-hosts, but they don't know.
I doubt they think that.
They don't actually know we're part of a running club, and we do bang on about it, but it's the truth. We're the biggest running club in the UK, and we get up to so much. So a lot of it gets publicised on your YouTube, but a lot of it doesn't. So I just thought it'd be a good idea to tell everyone, especially people that just listen to the podcast, what we've actually been up to over the last year as a club and what we've done. And you might listen to this and think, do you know what? For 2025, I want some of that. I want to get involved. And believe me, this list of stuff that I've got, it absolutely blows my mind. I don't know where we've had the time. I don't know where we've been out to sleep, mate, to be fair. It's like, I just thought I'd do up a bit of a list, 12 months, few events, we could talk over them.
God, the question, how hard was the list to actually narrow down?
It's really hard because obviously we could go into what I'd actually done. I'd done like a main one I want to talk about. Then literally there was things like Couch to 5K graduates, parkrun milestones. There was satellite meetups, Run to Paris, Ibiza, Sheffield, Leeds, Great Birmingham.
What, these haven't made the main list?
No, these are just races aside of it. Exeter 10K, Sunderland, Valencia, Derby, Nottingham, Billericay 10, Stevenage, Oxford, Cambridge, Chase the Moon. The list goes on, Hull 10, Hackney Half. None of them have even made the list, mate.
Bloody hell. And right, so I just, again, as a spoiler, I genuinely, hand on heart, I don't know what he's got in store, right? I said that to him. Don't tell me what it is because I want to... just go through them. I'm as interested to know as anybody. It is incredible. It's been an amazing year. 2025 is going to be even better, which is, just going to be awesome. Like, as I said, we are the biggest club in the country, but we do it a little bit differently, as you probably guys and girls already have realised. We are free to join. We're not like England Athletics. We're free to join. You don't have to be affiliated. You can get all the same stuff that you get with England Athletics because we've got race discounts and things like that. So don't worry about all that England Athletics nonsense. But we are free to join. But what's different is that we've got, and this is not selling, I'm just telling you if you don't know about us, we've got like 60 locations across the country, and there's going to be more in 2025 where you can go along to, and it's welcome to all abilities of run. And we don't actually care if you're a member of another club or whatever. If you just want a social run, or I don't know, you're looking for something in the week to get out and start your fitness wellness journey, or you just want some social connection, we've got clubs around the place or groups around the place that meet for social runs that everybody's welcome to come along to. And it doesn't matter if you're walking a 2:30 marathon, everybody genuinely is welcome. We work with, professional sports clubs like Leeds Rhinos, Bradford Bulls, all that sort of stuff. It's all over the country. Everybody's welcome to join. We don't care. It's free, right? It's just about getting together, being supportive, and being part of this amazing community, right? So I just want to put that out there at the front end. If you don't know, you listen to the podcast, you think these guys are like nuts. Actually, that's quite informative, but you never had any contact and stuff like that about the actual club community side of things. That's what we're about. We meet up at races, park run. We've got, I think, more and I might be wrong, but I think we've got more like part run directors than any like group club in the country. Which I think is basically we send more volunteers to the big races than any other club group in the country as well, which is amazing because we give, like we did the other week on the podcast, we gave all those marathon places away. Some of that was to do with our volunteering as well. So there's more to us than just, the podcast and the YouTube channel and that sort of stuff. So I just want to put that at the front end because you may not like know the full inside story. And again, it's totally free, people. Yeah. You could be affiliated with England Athletics through us, whatever, but we really don't care. It's not about that. It's about coming together with no barrier to entry. That's the most important thing. So yeah, I apologize if that came over a bit salesy, but it's not meant to be. It's genuine. You're laughing at it, but I just want people to get together. I don't really care, as you well know. I could give a toss whether you're with Lonely Goat, Billericay, Striders, whatever, and you're free on a Tuesday night and you want to come for a run with a group of people, come along. Like, honestly, it's what it's all about. Just getting together. People, you meet people. The next time you go park run, you might be on your own, but then you get to know somebody there. And, that's how it all starts. And that's what it should be like. Yeah. Not worrying about times, distances. And again, if you want to run faster, that's great. We welcome that. But at the same time, if you just want to do social stuff, that's great as well. And that's what, maybe just want to volunteer. Even better. That's what we're all about. I think that's what the message I want to give across, even though this is not what we're meant to be talking about. I can't help myself. I'm so passionate about it.
That's good. It's good. Now, do you know what? Just what you just said there, a few words just stand out straight away. You talked about being inclusive. You talked about being free. You talked about meeting up. And you know what? We're going to kick off right in January and go straight in. As soon as we started the year, the most miserable month of the year, the coldest month, what happened? Our very first event, second week of January, we took the club down to an extreme park run in Dover.
Oh,
Do you remember that?
Oh, that was unbelievable. Yeah, it was. It was freezing cold, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then how many people? Like 100, 200 people?
It's about
Probably
130, 140 people now, I think.
record attendance at that park run.
Yep.
Thanks. And that tends to happen. And a big shout out to Al Carolyn, who helped organise that yourself, obviously. But again, park run, such an important part of what we do. I don't know where you're listening to this or watching this in the world, but park run for us as a community, because again, like the club, is no barrier to entry. Put all that politics to one side if you're like all on that, but we don't give a monkeys about that. We're all about that, getting together, your pace, our pace, all that sort of stuff, and just more concentrated on the actual social side of things, being more than just a running club. And I think extreme park runs are just amazing because when you put it on paper, we're going to travel 5 hours and we're going to go and do 5K. You're like, what? It's like, but it's true. It's so amazing. But it's the pub afterwards or the meal afterwards and the coach journey and all this sort of stuff, isn't it? But also, I think highlighting some of the park runs as well is important. Not that they need highlight, but just to show a club of our stature, let's say, to go to somewhere like that it's brilliant. I think it's brilliant. I mean, we couldn't do it without the volunteers, but it's just amazing. And by the way, we bring our own volunteers with us as well.
Yep, that's what I was going to make. Clear. Yeah, and to be fair, the run director on the day down at Dover was absolutely brilliant, absolutely fantastic. Really welcomed us. It was really welcoming. It was a great day. I really enjoyed it. As you said, it was cold, and then literally, so we had that second week of January. The next weekend, we've done it all again, and we went up to the National Running Show. And listen, even the running show and the podcast live on stage, you've seen it. You've put the post out here. You can go back and rewatch that. But one of the best things about the National Running Show was that Rave run. Afterwards.
Well, firstly, the National Running Show, that's why they then probably want us back. It's because we stopped the show. And I think that just got on everybody's nerves because like they had the main stage and everybody was, and it was lovely. Thank you very much. We stopped the show. Everyone came to watch us with this podcast that we did. A big shout out to Sketchers, by the way, who support us. And yeah, we stopped the show, and I think that upset them all and all the people that sponsor that stand. But yeah, and then afterwards we did this massive Rave run, which again, so all shakeout runs are now banned at National Running Show because they can't control it. They can't control us. The good thing is we have insurance and risk assessments and run leaders and everything like that in place. So we've done it all above board. But yeah, they all got a bit trifle upset when about 300 people turned up and with speaker boxes, whistles. We had lights. And we just ran around the NEC. We weren't getting in anyone's way, but they were like, "What the hell is going on here?" And everybody had the great time, and that's brilliant. And that's what it should be about. And it was so awesome.
It was brilliant. I'd say the amount of people went down to Dover, and literally so many of them just come back up to it, and so many new people.
Oh,
Again, what I was sort of saying about putting this podcast out for people that don't know about the club. There was so many people there that didn't know much about the club. They knew about you, your YouTube channel. They knew about the pod, but they come along and they went that rave run, and that it was just everyone together from all walks of the country, all running clubs, everything. It was
oh,
absolutely
it was
great
brilliant.
fun.
Yeah, we
Great
we
fun.
had people from other running clubs
Oh yeah,
join us,
yeah,
running groups, or not even
yeah.
associate to anyone, because again, we don't care about that sort of thing. It was so funny. I just remember, right? The lady from the NEC came to tell us off. Said, "Oh, yeah, you can't do this, you can't do that." And we've like, well, look, we've got all this. This is our risk asset. This is our like liability insurance, and this. He's got insurance, and all this sort of stuff. We literally went through, and she went, "Okay, all right, yeah, okay, just this once." And then literally, as she went, everybody started their whistles, the music came on, and I was just like, no, shut up. She's going to come back and tell us we can't do it anymore. And, and it just went
Crazy.
out, and it was so loud. Oh, it was brilliant. It was a great way to start the year, actually.
Yeah.
It was a really, really good. As always, when we get together, the people in the club community and new people who come along to these things may have seen us at the shows or whatever. They all came along, and it was typical 40 runs, total carnage. But what is it Pete said? Total carnage, organised
Organised carnage.
organised carnage.
Yeah, and he was
Brilliant.
right. He was
Absolutely
right.
brilliant.
So yeah, that was January. There's a few bits as we go through them. We'll skip through them a bit quicker because obviously this could go on. This could go
Oh,
on for
cool.
hours. This
Day,
could.
couldn't we?
February. Some of the highlights for me. We had a couple of races that were big. We took quite a few of us. Went out to Vegas myself as well for the half
Yeah,
marathon.
yeah.
We're out in Las Vegas. We met someone from the Global Run Crew who was part of 40 Runs who lives in China, and we met them in Las Vegas. And you're just like, is
What?
this really happening?
I know.
This is a running
I
club.
know.
It's just nuts. We had the Winter 10K, which is always a
Yeah,
massive,
it's a good
massive
one.
event
First
for
one.
us.
That's the first big race of the season, I would say.
Yeah, yeah, and it's always a big one. But on the other side of things, not races aside, we had two big events. I think one of them, bit not life defining. That's a bit extreme. But first of all, we had the Ashford Satellite Club join us, which is a big satellite club down in Ashford. A lady called Siobhan brought that to us, so that's just like we welcome them to the family. Nice big group, and they're still with us today, going strong.
That's a
And
good point. And I'm
it's
sorry,
brilliant.
hey, just jump in there. Like, that's one thing. I don't know whether you'll come onto this again. I've got no clue what he's going to talk about. But this year we've seen like other running groups who maybe aren't affiliated or were like affiliated, but come into the family. And I think that shows you like that they believe in the ethos. So if you're listening to this and you're part of a small running group, you know, because running is obviously booming, and 10 of you are getting together, or 8 of you on a weekly basis, or 6 of you, we don't care. And that's something that you want to sort of bring into the 40 Runs family. We'll support you and all that sort of stuff. You know, we get funding in terms of from the money we generate through like volunteering and stuff like that. We give back to like LERFs and stuff like that. But anyway, the point is if you're one of those groups, get in touch. Drop us an email, hello@40runs.com. We love it. We support you. We've got some new groups starting in the new year that have come via that sort of stuff. So yeah, sorry, Hayden. I know it was a good shout.
Absolutely. It's the whole idea of it. As you said, it's what we are, it's what we do. But as I say, one of the bigger events that happened in February, but we've only got a couple of minutes to talk about it. So I'll put this down over to you because I know we both worked hard on it, but you got it over the line in the end. We've got to talk about February. We teamed up the club with Brooks. Tell us a bit about Brooks and why we teamed up with him.
Oh, blimey, yeah. Was that February?
That's
Because
February,
we were talking about we couldn't launch it because of the National Running Show. We couldn't launch it until February, but we'd agreed it all. For me, it was it. I was taken aback by their want and desire to help us bring down barriers to entry. Obviously, they sponsor Park Run, so there's a natural allegiance there. They are as a brand, and I was previously, very strong in terms of this. This is just the wrong message. They realised that and had switched the narrative around. Their products are now, as you know, Hayden, as someone who's never running them, are now like they're transforming their products. They're reaching a new demographic, but most importantly, they are still keeping barriers down to entry, and they support the fact that we are doing that, which I think is amazing. They've got involved with the Brighton Marathon in 2025. They've got involved with the Great North Run and the Great Run Series. Again, big races and events for us that we see that because the Great Run Series, for example, I think is a lot more attainable than, let's say, a marathon, right? I know they're sponsored by, but to come have that same ethos and to be a brand like that of that size, they sell more sort of running shoes in the US than Nike. Right. So that tells you how big they are. You go to any run or park run, most people, believe it or not, I know it's changed a little bit, but you'll still see most people in Brooks.
No, you're
Um,
right.
and everyday runners, it is the go-to shoe, or has been the go-to shoe for everyday runners. So for me, it was a natural partnership, but more non-financial, which was key. But it was more as a supportive, and they want to help grow the club and grow the awareness of what we're doing. And I think that's the key message from me. So yeah, the transformable on that
Yeah.
side of things.
Oh, brilliant. It's been a good partnership, and
Mm.
let's see how it goes going into the new year. So March going to skip through a little bit faster. We went up. A lot of us went out to Paphos for Ben's 40th. Remember, we partnered up with Sports Tours, done a bit of a package there, and
Yeah,
quite a few runners went out for Ben. Obviously, podcast host Ben. It was his 40th, so a lot of people went out there. That was a real good event. Obviously, myself and you went out there, but it just
hmm,
shows that we've got that ability to take runners from here and take them to another place on the other side of
bit of a
Europe. And,
theme.
yeah, exactly. We also had landmarks. I wasn't at landmarks. You was there. A few celebs normally with you in the pen at the front.
Yeah, it was a bit quiet this year. Bit
Dermot?
quiet.
Was Dermot there? Was that this
Who?
year? Dermot?
Yeah. Oh, Dermot. He was funny. He was. He's got no banter. Um, Honestly, I was bantering him. But he's probably thinking he was this prick. But you know what I mean? It was like no banter. No banter Dermot, I'm going to call him. He's a bit serious. No, he's a nice guy, but he wasn't too keen on the banter at about mile 7, I think it was. He was just like, get that idiot away from me. Which, to be fair, I kind of understand. But no, it was, yeah, I love Tommy's, the charity that raises money for. I think that whole cause that they support, and obviously that's what the charity is about. I think they've developed a really strong race that's a little bit fun, a little bit, in terms different to some of the more, let's say, serious races. And that's not to be disrespectful, because I think every race has got something special about it. But I just think there's something good. It's always great timing in the calendar. And the people there, the race directors, she's lovely. The whole team there are brilliant. And yeah, it's a great race. We usually have volunteers there as well. It's a good one. It's hard to get into. It raises a lot of money for charity, which I think is always brilliant. But yes, it's one of the favourites. I'm gutted to probably be missing it next year. It'll be the first time I've ever missed it, other than COVID.
Wow. Wow. As you
Or the
say,
pandemic.
it's a big race. I tell you, it's a bloody hard race to get into as well with their ballot.
Yeah.
But so we're going to move on to April. And to be honest, we could probably spend half an hour easily just on April. But I'm just going to score over a couple of things and focus on one. So Prague was in April. Quite a few of us went out there. This is when the super halves really started to take off within the community and people started
Hmm.
hearing about them more. That was absolutely awesome. A load of us out there. Brighton Marathon. We had a big volunteer first time we put a massive volunteer
Yeah.
station out there. That was absolutely fantastic. Loads of runners there. We could talk about this on phrases, but again, I don't want to. I wasn't there. I know you were. Manchester Marathon this year, I thought really stepped up to the mark this year.
Yeah.
Showed what big event they were, and the shakeout run before you had. Give us just a quick few words on that before you
Yeah,
move on.
Shakeout Run was unbelievable. Big shout out to Brooks. Big shout out to Up and Running. New partner for us in terms of working with them, Up and Running. We had I think we had 300 people sign up for that, but we had the worst weather on the morning, and still about 200 people came. It was wild. Um, but it was really good to see Manchester firsthand. I was really lucky; they really looked after me. And to be honest, I would do it this year or 2025 if I had the chance. But it's the same weekend as London.
Yeah,
Otherwise, I'd be there, because they really put on a really, really good event. And I would strongly recommend anybody, if you can't do London or Brighton and it's your sort of thing, you want to run a marathon, Manchester's the one to go and do. It's cracking event, really well organised, brilliant people. And I think that's going to keep growing in stature. They've got some great sponsors, some great partners with that race. And I
yeah.
think
But
they'll
again,
continue to grow.
we had so many runners up there that
Oh,
year.
unbelievable.
I remember I was at home here and I was filming them coming across the finish line. It was just like they just didn't stop coming. It was absolutely brilliant. Some great times. But then we got the week after, and the reason you won't do Manchester next year, and we need to talk about. We won't go on too much about the actual marathon, but we got London Marathon at the end of April. But for me, the biggest thing, I actually was lucky enough to run it this year. And even though the run was great, and I run with you, and we had loads of people there running, and the atmosphere, as always, is incredible.
Mm.
But I cannot get past, and people keep saying to me, I've had a load of people say, "What's your highlight of the year?" I just cannot get past that cheer station. I
And
mean,
not a
like that.
highlight of the year, one of the highlights of my life.
I just honestly, and this
On it,
isn't just
yeah, that's not
exaggerating or
bollocks.
anything.
No,
I just can't get past that feeling. It,
I'm telling you now, right? London Marathon is special, right? As somebody from this country, you probably listen to this in Malta or whatever, but it genuinely, it's a special race, right? I love New York, right? In terms of the marathon, again, mainly because Hayden was there 6 stars on it, but it was the London Marathon is a special event to me, which is why I've done it. You'll see if you're watching why I've done it so many times. Yeah, and I've done it every year for charity. Let me just make that absolutely clear, okay? Um, but when we came to that cheer station, which has grown and grown over the years, I remember like a few years ago, there was some people there, but just at is it mile 18 or 19?
It's about 18, 19, yeah, Canary
Yeah,
Wharf.
just you go under the bridge. It's grown every year, and this year, 24. We knew that there'd be some people there, but it was on another level. We got given these like cannon things, and honestly, I've never felt emotion like it. When I came up with you, we let those cannons off, and there's some amazing pictures taken by Kim Tobin photography.
Yeah.
Right? If you just look at the pure emotion on our faces as how much adrenaline was going through us than anything else. It's truly unbelievable. I've never ever experienced, and it was one of the greatest when I like almost dived into them. Like when you see the Formula One drivers at the end of the race, they jump into that. It was like that. I've never experienced anything like it. It's just I'll never forget that experience. Never.
No, it was. It literally. So you say about the cannons. It was my wife Louisa and a friend Jamie. I said, well, if you meet us, I've got an idea because they all had the cannons. To
Yeah,
every runner that goes by, one of our 41ers, they were letting off these cannons.
yeah.
So I said, well, give us two of the cannons. When we come, we'll fire it back at you to make the whole thing.
Oh, I
So
just remembered
that's
something.
what I did.
Do you remember they actually roped off the as you're coming into Canary Wharf, anybody who's not done London, you come in Canary Wharf, yeah, and they send you one side or the other because of safety and all that sort of stuff. And it's brilliant, to manage the flow. And the geezer had taped it off, so we wouldn't have been able to get to the front part of the support. We'd have got to some of it, but not the front part where the flag is and that lot. But the geezer who was volunteering was amazing, and he must have seen the shirts or recognised what like us or whatever. I'm not being like forget me, but do you know what I mean? I think he did because I swear to this day he went, "Go on, Fordy." I swear he did because I
He
went
lifted
under
the rope, didn't he?
he
Yeah.
lifted the rope, and I swear he said, "Go on, Fordy." And we went under there and we ran down that sort of 60-meter stretch all by ourselves, just me and Hayden with these, and we let those cannons off to tell the team we were coming, and it just went nuts, didn't it? It went they were loud, but they just went like on another level.
It's
It was
unbelievable. I think you
unbelievable.
get so my wife was there in the audience. I
Sorry,
said
mate.
to her, I get to see the audience, give you a hug. And I was looking around, it was just like, honestly, I was absolutely
Didn't
dazed. I didn't
see.
know what was going on. And by then we'd left. I was like, we looked at each other when running away. It was like, what just happened?
Well, yeah, it was. It was just like I
It
I
was
remember I
unbelievable.
edited the video. I couldn't put in the sort of straight after it because we was like, what the
It's
f just happened? That was thinking like
unbelievable.
I just and we was like we didn't know what was going on. Like
Yeah.
it was just unbelievable.
I
Like
need to give a shout as well. We had a lot of volunteers that volunteered at the baggage drop at the start, which we
yeah,
do every year, and they'd come up to the cheer stations to cheer afterwards. So this
and
whole corner
Sandyford
we've done. Yeah, Michael Sandiford, he come back afterwards. Yeah, they run a what 2 hour 20,
two and a
12,
half hour, two and a
two
half
and a half
hour
hour marathon.
marathon.
He still come back to cheer on everyone else, all the 5, 6 hour runners. So that's what the community is about, and that's what we do. We had the shakeout run beforehand in Southend. That was great.
Yeah, with
Literally,
Brooks.
we're on April. And we're like 22 minutes in, mate.
Oh
Let's
no,
go
keep
through
going,
this.
big boy, keep going.
May, we had, I know you don't like it, we had Ride 100, loads of the community out there. We had a volunteer team out there, loving the bike riding. We had the Leeds Marathon, really
Oh,
big event. It's got bigger
unbelievable.
and bigger.
And next year's going to be huge for us. I'm hoping we can get really involved in that.
Yeah. Yeah, as you said, we all do. It's going to grow and grow. We also we had another one of our extreme park runs. We tried to do it every 4 or 5 months. We went up to Yarborough,
That
and
was good.
that was probably one of our biggest ones.
Mm.
Turnouts, people just everywhere you look, there was just 40 runners, and
It was basically our park run for the day.
it was
And I
unbelievable.
apologise to anybody else who was there from somewhere else. But again, we was greeted with such warmth from the team at Yarborough Park Run. It was just amazing. And again, it was amplifies exactly what we're about. You know, we had people there walking, we had people there volunteering, we had people just coming along for the day. Brilliant,
Yeah, it was
absolutely brilliant.
absolutely again off the back of that with regards to diversity as we move into June. I think we saw this coming back in about February, March when we first partnered up with Brooks and we were talking about events we could put on, things we could do. I
Oh
think
yeah,
you
it's
yourself have
important.
come up with the idea about the LGBTQ park run and celebrating diversity, not only within our community, within park run. Park run was the ideal thing to sort of like showcase this. And Brooks wanted to be on board. They come down and sponsor us on that day, didn't they? They brought the tent down, the shoes, trials, and we had a big old meet up that day, didn't we? With the
Yeah,
diversity.
it was important. Again, in the discussions I had with Brooks, I had an idea. I said to him, "Look, I'm really strongly, into diversification within running and in general, really, right? And I just see the idea of a Pride park run. I just see it in my mind, and I want to celebrate it. Are you? Is that something you'd be interested to do?" Brooks went like, "You know what? We love the idea." They had a Pride shoe already in the works. It was like, and then and they say they got involved with Clapham through obviously their link with Parkrun and the whole thing. And again, we had like 200 and something runners turn up. Again, numbers are irrelevant, but it was just more a show of like, you know what, this is what we believe in. This is what we're about. Inclusivity, and that's how we roll. Doesn't matter where you're at, who you are, what you like. Don't matter.
There's a
You're
space
with
for it.
us. Yeah,
Yeah,
brilliant.
absolutely, absolutely. We also had the weekend after that. It's a staple in our diet when it comes to 40 runs. We had the Southend Half and the picnic. We are based all over the UK, and this year more than ever, we've really
God,
gone out up into the northern areas, and we've really got that northern powerhouse. But predominantly, traditionally, from the start, because just from where you were from, where your mum and dad were from, we always had that Southend connection. So Southend Half's always been attended by 40 runners, and again, this year was no different. It was absolutely
and
packed.
it supports the charity. The reason I've
Correct.
always supported the Southend Half is because of the Havens Hospice. So I got involved with that event 5 years ago and supported that event. So yes, we were at the start a southeast-based club to a degree. Now we're all over the country, from Carlisle down to Exeter. But I still go back there because I want to support Havens,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
great
the
charity.
amazing work they do.
Yeah, totally agree with you. We then move on swiftly into July. We're coming up to halfway through the year now. And July, I'm going to focus a bit more on the partnerships rather than the events. We did have Harp 24, where we camped for 24 hours
Mhm.
as a club, took over a campsite. It was great. We had the Essex 10K, where we just turned up unbelievably. We
Just
also
for
had
the millions of them.
we also had the 40 Olympics. That was basically an idea of getting everyone together on the track and doing like a sort of an old school sports day.
We can't call it Olympics; it's trademarked.
No, and it was during the Olympics, wasn't it, as well? So
Yeah.
yeah, a bit of trouble there. We had the T100 triathlon, but all that aside, I think the three standout things in July was we had a partnership that we started up with Kendall. We
Mm.
had Wakefield Satellite Club join us, and the Bradford Bulls partnership. Just give us a quick minute or so on them.
Kendall, I love Kendall. It's my fueling, and they were like, "We want to get involved in the club, and we want to support what you're doing. We think it's brilliant." Again, community, small company up in Carlisle. We've got a satellite group in Carlisle. Great people there, and they just get it. So they helped us put on their 40 runs Olympics. So we hired out a track and a stadium. We did like an old school sports. That's brilliant. And Kendall came there and supported us, which was just amazing. So yeah, I love those guys, and they're just great. The Wakefield thing is just unbelievable. Again, that story of we believe in what you're doing as an inclusive running club that's free and open to everybody, and it doesn't matter what background you are, what ability you are. That group was already existing, and they wanted it. Came into the family. I think it's an amazing, and the people that lead that are just incredible human beings. I had some time with them in Yorkshire because went up to Yorkshire. I've obviously travelled around this year, and I had just even more time with them, and they're just amazing people, giving back as all our volunteers do. And the Bradford Bulls, again, brilliant. Another professional sports club that we want to grow, running in the Bradford area and that community-based running side of things, but for all abilities, not just like the young kids, which is fashionable at the moment, which I appreciate, and that's good, getting everyone into running. But people who may be like, I don't know, struggling with their mental health, maybe they've had kids and they want to get back into some sort of fitness or help their well-being, and running's an easy way. But there's some places there's barriers to entry, like you have to pay England Athletics 30 quid to be part of that, or your local running club, they tell you you're too slow, you've got to run at the back. We're not interested in any of that. We're free. Come along to the Bradford Ball Stadium every week. It's about the social side of things. We had the police there the other day giving a talk, and it's that side of that bringing that support and that community through running on a local basis, but not necessarily the sort of younger crowd, the other way, if that makes any sense. And I think that's a very powerful thing, and I really hope that people get something out of it, and
Yeah.
big love to Bradford Bulls for coming on board.
Actually, it leads on really nice as we move into August, the last bit of the autumn. Last bit of summer, if we're going to autumn. We had 4 extreme park runs over 4 different locations
Mm.
around the UK again, and we had the Bushy 1000 event we went to. But again, I want to concentrate just for a minute or so on one other partnership we announced that year. So we've had some big partnerships, talking Kendall, talking Brooks, and in August, go and sign as a partnership with Cooper. Tell us
Oh,
what
Cooper!
you
I
think
love
about
Cooper.
Cooper and
I
Pete.
love Pete.
Yeah.
We're very like-minded. It's about the runners. It's not about the VC money. It's not about we've got some YouTube star selling our product here, there, and everywhere, and all this sort of stuff. And I'm a 2:34 marathon runner. Let me give you some. Who cares? Like, it's all about the runners. It's all about the community. It's all about giving back. They work with London Marathon events, so they're the official app of the London Marathon, which is key to us. They work with, obviously, Brighton Marathon. They work with Leeds Marathon. They work with Up and Running. They're spreading. They're just great people. It's in a nice way. It's a simplified product, which I think works for people. But it's the barrier to entry is lower. And yeah, I just appreciate that some people can't necessarily afford like a coach or whatever, but they want to get better, and it's something we wanted to offer our runners to recommend something that we believe in. And I say, if it's good enough for the London Marathon, it's good enough for me, to be honest.
100%.
And I think, but more importantly, I just love Pete. His story is unbelievable, but he just gets what I'm about, which you might think nonsense, but it's not. It's about that community. It's about the people. It's about bringing runners together. It's about no barrier to entry. You're running for your own reason. We want to support that. Yeah. And that's what is so loving about Pete. He really gets that.
Yeah.
And that's why it's a really key partnership for me. And I just really like the guy.
Yeah, I think key partnership all round. Say Cooper, keep Cooper going places. You watch your space. This time next year, whole running world will know about Cooper. Now let's move into September again, into the autumn. We've got 3 months left because December's a bit of a down month for us. But September again, we could go on for ages about this. We had the big half, which is always massively supported by the club, and everyone goes to the pub afterwards down in Greenwich. Some massive days. London Marathon event. It's their half marathon showpiece event. It's a big one. We have the Vitality 10K where Eilish joined us at the finish, didn't she?
Oh yeah, Eilish, bless her. Eilish was there, and Pete actually still talks about that. How we just bowled up to her, started chatting to her, getting her ratings, and then she hammered it.
She did actually, yeah.
She gave it a 7, I think she said.
To be fair, it was a bit quiet this year. I don't feel I gave it the best rating. But then we went on to, I'm going to say one of the events. This one was biggish, but Berlin Marathon was big this year. It was a 50th event. We had a bit of criticism on the podcast about it, but we still went out there as a club in big force. We had that shakeout run the day before, which we wasn't expecting. We just said, let's all meet up for a bit of a run. It wasn't a shakeout run, was it?
No, it wasn't shakeout.
You said to me,
we just went for a breakfast. I think we called it a breakfast run. We just literally met up before breakfast and was like, look, if anyone wants to
join us,
then. And like, I don't know, 40 people turned up,
Brilliant.
Something like that. Alex
Brilliant,
home runs. I love Alex. I want to give him a shout out. Also, I want to give a shout out to him. I want to give a shout out to Aubrey, because he joined us at the Winter 10K. And he's been very kind in terms of what he said about me this year. So thank you to him as well. But yeah, home runs, I absolutely love. If you follow anyone on Instagram, follow
He's
Herm.
funny. He is.
Runs.
He joined us at Berlin. I say, we won't go into the Berlin. You can go and listen to the Berlin podcast and see what we thought about that. But one I want to concentrate just a little bit, a couple of minutes on is, because again, it's another one like the South End Half for us in September. Great North Run. Live pod and shakeout. Just give us a bit of rundown that weekend for a couple of minutes.
That was huge. Massive half marathon, an event for me that's significant with my running journey. It was the sort of like first proper big event I ever did. I love the people of the Northeast. I love Newcastle. It's just, you have to do it to understand what it's about, I think, to get you that vibe. We've got our partner up there, Start Fitness, who are just amazing, and they get it. They've got their store in Newcastle, but we were supported this year by Brooks. Again, and actually, it's worth taking a point. I know we're running out of time, but it's worth saying, Hayden, here, just a massive thank you to all the volunteers, our first aiders, our volunteers, our run leaders. We can't do any of the stuff we do without them. And it's a testament to the club, everybody on the committee, everybody within the community who comes up and just goes, we go, right, guys, we're going to do a shakeout run, the Great North Run. We're going to have 300 people. Anyone want to help out? Yep. And by the time you've done it, you've got 25 run leaders, 3 first aiders, 5 to 10 volunteers who are happy just because to stand on like a junction and help people across. and we can't do it without them. But I think the feedback from that was just phenomenal. It just starts that whole weekend. The race is incredible. Everybody does a huge meet up beforehand, so nobody's on their own. Again, which is the fundamental ethos of the club. That nobody's on their own. I started all this because of the way I am. I've, publicised that. I don't need to go in there, but to then see that in the Great North Run where we had so many people meet up, like literally it was 20 deep at the back. Have a look at the picture. You saw the flag; it's like a dot at the back. But that's not like, oh, this is how big we are. This is how big our picture is. No, what's key is your green wave, off you go. And that's what that meetup is about. And that's the difference between, that BS that's on social media, community and all this crap. No, this is about actually, you're here on your own. Great. Okay, this person's here on their own. Welcome. Off you go to the pen. And they've then got that person. And they're out in that race. And they're like, oh, I'm a bit nervous. It's like, because it's a big weight at the Great North Run, just to get started. But you might be with somebody, and that again, for somebody like me, and that's why I love it. I get to go with you guys and do the same. So it's just the same for me. It's brilliant, and the Great North Run symbolizes everything about us: fun, organized chaos, but also meeting up and putting people together and running it together and being part of that wider community, support on the course, everything, volunteering, everything. It's just everything about 40 runs, and a bit of travel as well. Because now we like to travel and get out and about. We've really spread our wings, especially because we are north to south now. So much traveling takes place throughout the year. It's just brilliant, and even further afield. It's brilliant.
I just want to back up just to prove it isn't like a load of crap as well. So there's two ladies, and I'll give them a shout. I'll say their names. A lady called Angela Walker. She was there for her first time, and she was a little bit nervous. She knows quite a few club members, but they weren't so much in the same group or the same pace as her. She went to run, I think it was 2 hours 30. And at the same time, I was talking to Lulu Robinson, who helps us out with our social media and stuff.
Hero Lulu, we love you. Thank you.
She didn't know Angela Walker and said, "What are you running today?" She went 2:30. I went, "Oh, so is Andrew in the same wave. You two." And she went, "Oh yeah, we do know each other." And that was it. They run the whole race together. Had a great day. And Angela walks afterwards. I'm so glad that happened. It's one of her best races she's done. And it was absolutely brilliant. And that just goes to prove what you're saying. This ain't made up.
We ain't making this up.
It actually happened.
We're not here to make it. We're just reminiscing. And I tell you the other funny story. I still can't believe it. Shenny flew in from China for the shakeout run.
I know.
Just stop again, right? Right. You may be eating your first mince pie of the day. Shenny flew in from China for the Great North Run because she wanted to be part of it. China people to Newcastle to be part of work that out. While you're sitting there today, when your pigs in blankets at lunch, I want you still to be thinking about Shenny, who flew from China to Newcastle. All right. That is mental.
It is. It shows the reach we got. But listen, let's go in. We're going to quickly smash through these. We've got October, November, December. October, Chicago Marathon. As always, we put out a great team of people out there. There was quite a lot of us went out this year. Some great performances.
2025.
Wait till 2025. We had Nathan as our extra leader. He was out there smashing out a PB. Ben was out there. There was loads of us out there. We met people after the race. That was an absolute fantastic. We had Yorkshire Marathon, which I know you ran for the first time. We had the shakeout run again there, but the amount of shakeout runs this year, it's absolutely.
But they're not really shakeout runs. I hate the
get-togethers, aren't they?
I hate the terminology. The get-together. It's just a group run. It wasn't like massive 3 million people, total chaos, no insurance, all that sort of stuff. But it was just nice to get like 20 to 30 people. I think it was like 30, 40 people there, but whatever. Again, with up and running, get them together just before the back. Again, the weather was poxy, but we all went out. We had a lovely social jog in the morning. It was really nice. And York was lovely. And I was so lucky to go up there and do the Yorkshire Marathon. Again, travelled around this year. And that's one of the highlights for me is the fact that I've travelled around so much this year. I was even in Wrexham, don't forget. I went there earlier in February. But yeah, to go up to Yorkshire again, meet the guys and girls from Wakefield, see the team from Leeds, Sheffield people were there, some of the Bradford guys were there as well. All that sort of, as you say, that northern stronghold we've got. But yeah, it was a brilliant run. The weather was terrible. We had a storm, a hurricane almost. But it was just a really, really great event, made better because we had that group run. I got to meet people I've never met before. And that's the other overriding thing was so many new faces I've met this year, so many new people that we've come into contact with through this. It's unbelievable. The as you say, that maybe the reach or whatever, but so many new faces this year. Every race or event I've gone to, I've met new people. People, and it's not me because I'm socially awkward. So it's it's just awful for me in those social environments. But people come up to me and say, "Oh, Fordy, nice to meet you," and that, like, it's lovely because I wouldn't go up to somebody and say hello, but it's really nice when the people come up to me and say hello. It's and they're new faces. It's just brilliant. It's so cool. I just love it.
You might as well move up there. You had the Manchester half as well. You know, you're just
Yeah, I went
you
back there for the
you
Manchester
spent
half.
half of your running
Yeah,
year this
don't
year
forget, a couple of
up
years ago
north.
we were southeast based.
Yeah, that's all
Yeah.
changed. That's all changed. So we moved into November. We had obviously had the New York Marathon. We didn't have
Wow.
as many club members going there, but obviously we had our very own Ben going out there, getting his what's it, his full star. And New York's New
Yeah,
York. It
he
brings
ran
back
that
some good
quite slow.
memories.
I remember him running that fast. Yeah.
I don't think I'd agree with you on that one.
Mm.
We also had the Benidorm half. Wow. When it comes to trips abroad, this is one where we took the amount of people that went there. It was just something else. Everyone had
Mm.
preconception about Benidorm, but no, Benidorm half. If you ever get a chance to go out there, especially if you want to come out the 40 Runs Running Club, that is unbelievable. The amount of us who went
Mm.
out there, fantastic, lively, but really good. We had
Lively.
it was proper lively. We also had the return in November, the Fulham 10K. Load of us at that event,
Yeah.
and that was a great event.
Really enjoyed the Fulham Tech. I'm not like someone who likes to go to like Southwest London, whatever you call it. It's a right pain in the arse, and I just moan about travelling there. But again, I got to run with Hayden, but I really enjoyed that event.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
good fun.
I think it was because I mean, I'd had a on and off season in terms of my running, in and out. So to be able to go somewhere and see what sort of got left in the tanks, um, it was
Yeah.
really nice. I really enjoyed it. Again, not someone I'm not. I did the Fulham 10K years ago when it was one of our first event, not first events, but it was one of our first big meetups when it used to be the Adidas things. I
Mm.
remember seeing the picture, and some of the same old faces. Sue's there, Kimmy's there, Stella's there. Some of the old school favourites. Um, and it was amazing to see all the new faces this year when we had the picture. And a lot of people missed the picture because of the traffic and the trains
Mm.
and all that sort of stuff. But still, so many people there. But again, new faces with some of the older ones. It was really nice to see that, and it was such a great event.
Yeah,
Big shout out to Run Through because they put some really
definitely.
good races and events on this year. Yeah, it was a cracking way to sort of end the season, if that makes any sense.
Definitely, I think it's placed really well for that. And if you are looking for an end of year where you're thinking, I really want to go out and put the afterburners on,
Mm,
see what I can do, or just give it. It's a flat road race. It's going to be bigger every year. So yeah, that's definitely one you got to put your diaries for next year. And I'm going to finish up now with so in December. The only thing I'll say about December is obviously giving away the marathon places. This just like highlights what we can do as a club
mm.
now and what we're giving back to our members. But I'm going to go back to the end of November to finish up. Because at the end of November, Cooper actually come along and joined us, and we had our annual Christmas lights run, and that was from the very sponsors of this podcast, Sketches. They let us use
Yeah.
their store, didn't they, mate?
Yeah, just giving them a shout out on my hoodie, and that's not planned, by the way. I just put that on. Again, I didn't know what we were talking about. Yeah, I give them some love because they support the pod. They've supported the pod from day one, and obviously we work with a lot of brands, and I really love them. What I love about Skechers, and it's not because they sponsor us. I just love them because if you ever talk to them, it's that for them it's about the family. It's about the fact that you can have shoes for your kids. Dad can wear the shoes to work. Mum can wear the shoes to because she works in, I don't know, a hospital. So she's on her feet all day. And she wants something comfortable. You want to play golf, they've got something for you. You want to play pickleball, they've got something for you. You want to do running, they've got something. They've got some new shoes coming in. It's that whole family and the whole family that it doesn't matter where you are in your journey as on this planet as a family and that sort of stuff. They believe in that. And that's again, that's not marketing, that's not BS. That's true. I've seen it firsthand. And you see it wherever you go. Especially like I even made you laugh on the train this morning. I saw a couple of people sitting here in the pair of sketches, so it's that wholesome everyday runner shoe. You might not necessarily run in them because you might prefer to run in something else, but you may wear them to work. And it's that kind of thing. And they've always supported us. But yeah, they were really kind enough again to give us their store on one of the busiest days of the year for them in the middle of town. It's their sort of headquarters store in Oxfordshire. I'd recommend you going there because the staff in there are so nice, so kind. We caused absolute carnage for about 45 minutes. 250 people in their store. And we did a big safety briefing. And then, again, big thanks to all the volunteers, first aiders, and Cooper, everybody came along. And we safely navigated all those runners around the busy streets of Regent Street, Carnaby Street, Oxford Street, down to Buckingham Palace and that lot, and had a big group photo. And it just sums up what running should be. Put 40 runs to one side. What name you put on it doesn't really matter. What's important is to take away the fact of people are together. People who may not have any social contact with anybody in the week, maybe like me, never used to have any friends when they were younger because of their autism and their social awkwardness and that sort of things. But through running, have met people and now meeting people and getting together on a regular basis, or like now messaging people that they never knew, and then they're able to go and do stuff together, even if it's volunteering. And I don't mean that even if it's like nothing, but it's like really important. Or going to park run and they know somebody there, and it doesn't matter whether it's 40 runs or some other thing. It doesn't matter, but that's the power of what health, fitness, sports can do for people. It could break down barriers, and I think that's what I want to continue in the club and the community, and I think it will be, because there's people like yourself here doing that, Hayden, and everybody else. The shining lights that help propel everybody else on and give them the confidence to break down their own barriers to come out and do something. It's so hard, right? And it's something I might do is if you struggle with stuff, and I don't necessarily focus on that, but if you struggle with stuff, whether that's anxiety, whatever, yeah, or like you just get overwhelmed with things. Going to races or even a park run could be a really stressful situation, yeah. So but it could be such a positive thing for you to go and do some form of physical exercise, whatever you're going through. It can really genuinely change your life, whether you're trying to lose some weight, whatever. But to go and do that, but to go there on your own can be quite intimidating. And then if you I don't know, as you say, there's so many heroes out there. Maybe they sign up for the London Marathon because they want to raise money for a charity because that charity supported their partner who passed away, or something awful like that, or like Tommy's, because of the work that they do. And you go and sign up for London Marathon, and you're like, I'm on my own here. But we're there, and then you can meet other people. You can share your training journey with them. You can meet them. You can go along to a park run, and you might get to know somebody. And that's what it should be about. Forget all this fake crap that's on social media, making brands try and look good because they're communities. And we're getting up at 3 a.m. to run around because it looks good on TikTok. No, it's about the real, authentic, connections that people are now making through running. And I think that's the most powerful thing. I think it's a real positive thing this year that running has boomed so much. Yeah, we've got that generation that came out of the pandemic that took it up, and that's a really good thing, by the way. And that's a really good thing that there are these clubs in London that are bringing those runners together, because eventually they'll end up at 40 runs or something like us. And I think that's really powerful, because it's just getting people together and doing some fitness together and sharing some of those things. And if you are then going to a race or an event or your first park run, because of what we've done, you may know somebody, and that can break down so many barriers. So many barriers. And then you might be stopped from going to do something because you're worried about something. And then if you've got the confidence from something that you may have done through us or whatever, then that can genuinely, it's changed my life. Yeah. For the positive, like 6 or 7 years ago when I started it, and the people that I've met, like yourself, Hayden, it's changed my life for the better. Some days not, because it's bloody stressful, all this. But it has genuinely changed my life and the way my outlook on things. And my closest friends are now all through 40 runs that I met. Yeah, because that's the power of it. And I've now got an amazing support network around me. Obviously, got Nick and the family, but outside of that, I've got that. And that's all through 40 runs. And what that's generated. And I love being able to go to any race, event, or even as I'm walking along in London and people go, yeah, you know what I mean? And you know someone. It's honestly, it's like I go for my run. I ran in London. I was running the other day. Someone stopped me and said hello. I mean, it's and that's not because they're just generally just like, just all right, 540. It's so nice.
It's the machine that it's 40 runs and what's been created, and ultimately, yeah, you created it. You started in that day, but we need to give a shout out as we draw to the end of this on our Christmas Day. A massive, massive shout out to all our committee members, and Mel's, your Carolyn's, your Nettie's, Marissa,
Mm.
Bryce. Yeah, there's so many people. Then we've got to go to
Chairman, members of
Chairman,
secretary.
Chairman Melvin and Linda, your mum and dad. I was going to save that for last, but we've got them. We've got satellite leaders. Without them, we would not have the satellite structure in
No.
place. They are there over the whole country. They go out week after week after week.
Mm.
When the weather's awful, they still go out to meet up with people. They need so much love. We've got the people in the back room that people don't know about, like Lulu Robinson, who helps out with what the
Oh,
admin. Magda does. There's people they don't want gratitude or anything for it. They just do things in the
Dave
background.
Turner, DT.
Dave Turner does loads
That's
for
our
club.
newsletter.
There's just so newsletter. There's just so many people that this wouldn't happen without them. And this is all voluntary. This is all people giving their time.
Mm.
And literally, there is so much love out there. And we have to thank all of them for us being here and reading out what we've done over these past 12 months. And I'm not joking about this. That was a fly by night snippet. We could have sat here for hours going on about different events. It's been an absolute awesome year. And I just know next year is going to be, I don't know, we're going to have to book in probably about a 3 hour slot for the pod this time next year. Yeah. So get
Yeah,
me
I
going,
think
mate.
yeah, it's a great way. I think honestly, it's a good idea and this is not us blowing smoke up our own. This is as you said, Hayden, brilliantly at the start. This is we appreciate how many people listen to this. We get a million downloads a week. But how many people listen to this or watch this? And you might just watch it because you think it's funny, like we ain't got a clue what we're talking about. But outside of that, there's like a machine at work. And it is important. It is important in life to sit back. And my therapist tells me that all the time. Fordy, you've got to sit back and you've got to, take pride and look at what you've achieved. Which is something I generally struggle with. And stop deflecting from it. But we've got to, as a club, as a community, as a force of greatness in this country, we've got to stop and say, you know what, guys, this is what we've done this year. This is amazing, and pat yourselves on the back because, yeah, we've done things wrong. We could have done things better. When we've learned a lot this year as well. When you're the size we are, you're going to make mistakes. Okay, so that's great. And that's a learning process. But I think we've grown this year, not size wise. Well, yeah, we have, but I think as we've matured as a group. And yeah, I just again re-emphasize just thank you to every single person really who's involved in everything and admin speaker they help me on a weekly basis. I mean, it's just like it's crazy, as you say, the chairman and but there's two people I need to thank and then we go because it's
I need.
52 minutes.
Could I do my two first, and then we can finish up your two because you like getting that ending conclusion, and why not? I two other people. I didn't put Kim into when I said about that. Kim has been a massive part of 41
Oh,
for a long time.
huge.
She's really built the
Love Kimmy.
social side of things. She's on the committee, and she's always there driving the club. So big shout out for Kim. And lastly, I know you're going to copy me on this one. Well, you're not going to copy. I'm going to get ahead of you. I need to give a massive shout out to my wife, Louisa, because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have the time to sit here, be doing this podcast, wouldn't have the time to sit tonight, speak to satellite leaders, and do what I do. Without her, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. So massive shout out to my wife and a happy Christmas.
I'm gonna finish. I'm just gonna add a third person in. I'm gonna say thank you to Lou as well because without her, Hayden couldn't do it. And my two to thank are Hayden. I think no, shut up for a minute. I'm gonna thank you on behalf of everybody and me personally. Personal level, you know what you do for me. Even though that geezer I had to correct him the other day. But you simply can't put into words or what you do for this club, but the people in this club, right, is unbelievable. Unbelievable. He literally helps people on a daily basis. Like uh, I can't even quantify it, right? But he needs, if you ever see him, firstly say he looks smaller in person. But secondly, no, honestly, give him a
There
hug.
it is.
Genuinely, we couldn't do this. We couldn't do any of this. He's taken the club from sort of southeast virtual, whatever England athletics think that we are, to a monster. Yeah, and it's down to him. So thank you, brother.
Not only me, but I'll take it. Thank you.
And lastly, lastly, we have to thank Mrs. Ford, who's probably at the moment giving me a roasting about not like doing something like I'm probably sitting on. I guarantee you, I'm sitting on the sofa, me and Buds, and we're probably doing nothing. And the girls are trying to get ready because we've got to go South End. So Mrs. Ford needs a huge shout out because she allows me to do, not allows me, but she supports me, better way, to be able to do all of this stuff, right? Without her, I simply can't do any of it. I can't. I just, we've got a young family and all this sort of stuff. She works her socks off. She puts up with me. She puts up with my peculiar ways, and she's just so supportive. If I say to her, Nick, I've got to go to Gothenburg because I've got to go and race. Okay, when you're back, probably Sunday night. All right, great. I mean, like, you know what I mean? It's just like she's so amazing. Nobody really knows her. She's in the background, but I love her so much. I simply couldn't do anything without her. It's like I'm like just I don't know what to do. So there we go. So yes, Merry Christmas, everybody. Hey, you'll
Merry
finish this up. But yeah, genuinely thanks to everybody for the support, the love. We hope that we can bring even more of what we do to more people in 2025.
Yeah,
You take us out, brother.
What an absolute year. And thank you once again for listening, for every podcast, for every comment, every like, every subscribe. We appreciate everything you do for us as well. So enjoy your Christmas Day dinner. We'll catch up with you really soon.
See you later, guys.
See you
Take
later.
care.